The grimdark is full of aliens or Xenos species running about, zipping through space and waging war on the Imperium and against each other. It is total war out there, and there is no end in sight. Xenos, like the Orks, are in fact walking mushrooms in essence. There are also the tyranids, which are abhorrent insect-like amalgamation of different bioforms that work in unison under a hive mind. And then there are the necrons, which are essentially ancient immortal terminators. But then there are aliens like the Eldar that are humanoid and resemble humans to a large degree. Some might even say that they are exactly like us, with the exception of their pointy ears and almond-like eyes. So what if I was to say that these are not the only differences between the Eldar and the humans of 40k, and that the biology of this enigmatic alien species is as different to us as ours are to crabs and squids? Here in this video we will dive deep into Eldar biology and examine the intricate differences between them and humans. So let's get to it. Let's begin with their origins and appearance. So the Eldari are the direct creations of the Old Ones 60 to 65 million years ago, and they were created for a specific purpose. That is, alongside the gigantic brute force Orks, they would serve and aid the ancient Old Ones in the war in heaven against the necrons and their Catan star gods. The Eldari were made to be masters of psychic powers, a factor that would see them fight on par against the robotic immortal necrons and even defeat them in many engagements. The Eldari bear very great superficial resemblance to humans, but them on average being taller, with more slender bodies and striking sharpened features. Their skin is as smooth and flawless as polished marble. Their pointed ears and slanted, penetrating eyes give them an otherworldly appearance, somewhat like that of a predatory cat. However, the true alien nature of the Eldari becomes more apparent in their movements and attitude. Every action they take comes with an inhuman grace and elegance, especially in combat, where their agility and skill are unmatched by normal baseline humans. Their movements, even though highly undetectable to the naked eye, are deliberate and purposeful, with even the slightest gesture containing a hidden intent. So compared to humans who at large appear to be very sluggish and clumsy, these Eldar appear graceful and otherworldly. In superficial appearance, they look like slender superhumans that have a strange aura about their actions. Now, why is this so? Why are they so different yet so alike? It is well known amongst the 40k fandom that humans, too, are one of the indirect creations of the Old Ones, and that they are a species that took millions of years of natural evolution on the line of mammals to become what they are in the current era. The Eldari, however, pride themselves as not belonging to any established animal group. They pride themselves in the fact that they were created genetically out of a necessity to be the prime warriors against the deadly necrons and the Catan star gods. This is kind of true though. They are different, as alien to us as any other Xenos species, even though sharing a similar body shape and appearance, that is from head to toe. But now let's dive deeper into the anatomy and biological structure to see the great differences they have compared to us. The Eldari skeletal system is a marvel of evolutionary design, maybe genetically engineered design, superficially similar to that of humans but fundamentally distinct in its composition and capabilities. The skull, while externally resembling that of a human cranium, exhibits an unusual bone texture and teeth that are fundamental outgrowths of the jawbone, hinting at a different developmental pathway. So human teeth are not part of the jaw. Let's clear that up. Moving down the spine, they have densely packed muscles with spiral structured fibers that wrap around a complex column of intermeshed segments. This arrangement suggests a remarkable elasticity and tolerance to movement, supporting the Eldari's renowned high-speed maneuverability. Unlike humans, they have a set of ribs that are fused to form some sort of like wings arching from an elastic spine. Their upper limbs, meaning their arms, though broadly analogous to humans, meaning looking exactly the same externally, exhibit bone formations suggesting a solidification from a liquid state. So these complex joints and fused bones still retain flexibility and durability, and possessing internal cavities packed with fibrous channels of an unknown purpose. Despite their strength, Eldari bones are far lighter than that of their human counterparts, contributing to their agility and speed. In the abdominal cavity, the Eldari possess a unique feature, which are flexible bony plates akin to a secondary rib cage beneath their abdominal muscles, which can be folded downwards, showcasing the adaptability and efficiency of their skeletal structure. It is intriguing to note that the Eldari may not possess conventional bones at all, but rather a hardened resin-like pseudoskeleton akin to the cartilage structures seen in sharks. This unique skeletal composition likely provides them with both toughness and flexibility, reminiscent of how a spring can snap back into shape when bouncing. Coupled with their long and strong muscular structure, it is suggested that the Eldari have remarkable control over their bodies, able to swiftly maneuver and react as needed. So in short, the bones of the Eldari harden from a previously liquid state that is of a crystalline nature, and they are far lighter than that of humans. Now let's take a look at what makes all of us tick: the brain. The anatomy of the Eldari brain is mysterious and complex even to the most well-trained biologists of the Imperium. It has multiple lobes, an extremely dense cerebral matter, and a bunch of yet unidentified and unknown nerve ganglia. One of the most striking features of this brain is the central ridged organ, the function of which still remains unknown. While some elements such as the occipital and the parietal lobes bear a great resemblance to human brain structures, they are notably denser with nerve cells and more complexly arranged, with additional layers of unidentified composition. Upon dissecting the ocular organs, which means the eyes, it is found that the spherical eyeballs are filled with unknown polyps, making it impossible to accurately speculate on the quality of Eldari eyesight. But from the rogue traders, it is known that the Eldari possess a trait known as infravision, allowing them to perceive a wider spectrum of radiation than other creatures. Maybe more into the ultraviolet spectrum on one side and more to the infrared vision on the other side. This allows them to see in the dark. Now let's take a look at the Eldari's physiology, their organs, which is a subject of controversy and complexity. Their heart beats almost twice as fast as a human's, their thoughts and emotions process at baffling speeds, and their physical reactions are so quick they can be a blur to the human eye. This also means that their muscles are more well developed from cells that are different to ours right from the molecular level. Their internal anatomy is equally complex and unique. Their ribs form fused wings that arch from an elastic spine, protecting their inner organs, which can hardly be compared to human equivalents. Speculation suggests that they have densely pulmonary muscles for respiration. They also have similar lungs to humans and also some sort of temperature regulators inside of them. Particularly intriguing are their detached lymph glands, which appear to be free-roaming all over the body, yet fully functional. These serve the immune system. This is a biological oddity, as most creatures with detached parts are just simple organisms like primitive worms or sponges. In comparison, the human body has fixed organs and tissues, with only cells that move around in the body, carried around by the vital bloodstream and via the endocrine systems and vessels. On the other hand, the Eldari's digestive and renal systems, they mirror the elegance and complexity seen in the upper cavity organs in their bodies. Interestingly though, there are no obvious signs of peristalsis or chemical enzymes or degenerative fluids typically associated with the digestion, the excretion of the waste, which raises questions about how or if digestion in the first place occurs at all in Eldari physiology. This raises the question whether the digestive system, which greatly resembles our own, especially the digestive canal from the mouth to the anus, has now become like the human appendix, just a useless vestigial clump of cells. There are theories that say that the Eldari feed on warp energy, or they depend on the warp for digestion, and that they do not require the same nutrition as we humans do. But this can be proven wrong by the presence of a faction of them called the Exodites that have technologically devolved back into an agrarian society in the maiden world spread all over the galaxy, taking up agriculture and simple village lifestyles, including raising livestock to avoid the eventual degeneracy that is inherent in their species, especially after being the superpowers of the galaxy. Now let's take a look at Boom Boom. The reproductive organs of the Eldari males outwardly resemble those of human males, meaning the penis, but their method of gamete delivery, or jizz, appears to be progressive with corresponding organs for successive stages. They need a lot of smashing to get knocked up. In simple terms, speculation arises regarding the conception process, which might occur over an extended period with additional genetic material supplied at preordained stages throughout the gestation period. Though this remains inconclusive, the process of Eldari reproduction is a significant aspect to consider. If reproduction occurs in deliberate stages at specific intervals, it would be challenging for new births to occur, requiring a prolonged and stable pregnancy environment and a male's presence with the female for the entire duration. The gestation period is unknown, but theoretically could take a longer time than the 9 months of humans. In this aspect, human pregnancies and reproduction are more resilient than that of the Eldari. So externally and structurally, the Eldari anatomy is remarkably similar to humans. However, again internally though, their anatomy, if looked closely, reflects a strange extraterrestrial form, with an overall complexity that defies classification and identification of certain elements. In Dawn of War Part 2, it is noted that the Eldari blood crystallizes instead of coagulating, a phenomenon likely related to the crystalline spore, which is their equivalence of our blood, and possibly caused by similar psychic reactions. The Eldari's body chemistry exhibits a crystalline nature, specifically a warped crystalline composition that suggests an intrinsic connection between their bodies and their souls and the Imperium. Extensive research has proved insights into the Eldari's cellular structure. Their skin samples reveal a cellular arrangement similar to that of humans, but with a complexity that again far exceeds ours. Their cellular code consists of quintuple helix DNA, compared to our double helix DNA. Theirs is present with 20 chemical bases, while us humans we only have 4 bases that are adenine, cytosine, guanine, and thymine. It is also noted that the Eldari sample distorts in response to the examiner's focus on the subject, suggesting a form of resonance and disinformation that is programmed right to the cellular stage. This allows for the rearrangement of their chemical code for security reasons. And lastly, let's take a look at something before we close the topic. The Eldar are known for their long lifespans, with the average individual living for centuries, typically between 500 and 1000 years. Before their fall from grace during the pre-fall era of M29 and earlier, the Eldar possesses advanced rejuvenation technologies that could extend their lifespans to tens or even hundreds of times longer than the current average. This means that the pre-fall Eldar could live anywhere between 5,000 and 100,000 years, effectively making them immortal. In the present era though, Eldar who have lived beyond 1,000 years are considered old, and their bones have begun to crystallize with age. Eldrad Ulthran, the oldest known Eldar, having witnessed the birth of the Imperium and the Great Crusade of M30, making him at least 12,000 years old. Like others of his age, Eldrad's bones have begun to crystallize, which is a sign of advanced age. This also shows their crystalline nature, their innate crystalline nature. So although there are humans that can live longer like the Astartes and the Custodes, the transhumans, most of the baseline human population can only live for around 10% of the Eldari's average lifespan. And with that we come to the end of this video on the Eldari biology and anatomy, and its comparison to that of the baseline humans of 40k. So subscribe and like for support, and yeah, while you're at it, bang on that bell icon for notifications on new video uploads. Till the next time, take care, boys.